In the 1840s, Somerset County, New Jersey, was a quiet region of scattered farms, narrow roads, and thick patches of woodland stretching between Bernards Township, Martinsville, Bedminster, and Pluckemin. It was an area where life moved slowly, where families knew their neighbors for generations, and where nothing much changed from year to year. Yet there was one place the locals rarely approached, a windswept field south of the old mountain road, just beyond a cluster of oaks and maple trees. At the center of the clearing stood a single massive oak, older than any farm, older than any settlement, older even than some of the colonial roads that cut through New Jersey. By the 1840s, the tree already had a name whispered in taverns, the Devil's Tree. Farmers said its bark stayed warm in the dead of winter. Children claimed birds would not land on its branches, and the oldest families told stories of travelers who wandered too close and never returned. Most people assumed these were just folk tales, warnings meant to keep children away from dangerous woods or from the remote farmland where accidents happened often. But during the decade between 1841 and 1849, 5 events occurred in Somerset County that were recorded in newspapers, sheriff's logs, or personal diaries, all tied directly or indirectly to the lone oak in the field. 5 events that turned a rural legend into one of New Jersey's most enduring mysteries. Part 2. The Disappearance of Caleb Warren, 1841. The first real case. The earliest documented incident connected to the tree involves Caleb Warren, a 32-year-old farmhand working near Bernards Township. On March 2, 1841, Warren was last seen heading home after finishing a day's work at the Sutter farm. His route took him directly past the field where the old oak stood. He never arrived home. 2 days later, the Somerset Gazette printed a small notice. Mr. Warren left his employer shortly before dusk and has not been seen since. Searches of the nearby woods have yielded no result. Local men spent a week combing the area. Dogs were brought in from a neighboring farm. Searchers found Warren's footprints leading into the clearing, clear and well-formed. And then they found something else. Just 10 yards from the oak, the prints stopped perfectly. No sign of a struggle, no drag marks, no branching trails. Sheriff Elias Donnelly, who oversaw the search, wrote in his logbook, "The tracks end with no explanation. It is as though he stepped into nothing." Warren's body was never recovered. His disappearance was the first officially recorded in the area. Yet even then, locals whispered that the tree took him. Part 3. The Drifter in Black, 1843. Witness accounts of a dark figure. In late autumn of 1843, several residents of Martinsville reported seeing a tall man dressed entirely in black standing near the old oak after dusk. The description came from unrelated witnesses over a period of 3 weeks. Among them was Margaret Hill, a schoolteacher who lived less than a mile from the field. In a letter to her sister dated October 19, 1843, she wrote, "I saw a man by the tree. He was taller than most, standing very still, like a statue. I called out, but he did not turn or move." 2 days later, a pair of farmhands, Nathan Price and Samuel Hillard, were transporting tools by cart when they passed the clearing at twilight. Hillard testified, "There was a man beneath the oak. He appeared suddenly, as if stepping out from behind the trunk, though there is no place to hide there. When we approached, he was gone." Price added, "We did not see him walk away. One moment he was there, the next the field was empty." The Somerset County Sheriff's Office considered these sightings to be a vagrant or wandering laborer. But Price insisted the figure's movement was unnatural. He vanished. He didn't run or hide. He simply wasn't there. Though no crime was committed, this became the first recorded sighting of the dark figure associated with the Devil's Tree. Part 4. The Tragedy of the Kearney Family, 1844. A real case of violence. In May 1844, a devastating incident occurred on a small property bordering the same field. The Kearney family, recent immigrants from Ireland, had settled in a modest cabin near the clearing. The father, Patrick Kearney, was known as a stern but hard-working man. On the night of May 12th, neighbors reported hearing shouting from the Kearney home, followed by a single gunshot. When authorities arrived the next morning, they discovered Patrick Kearney dead from an apparent self-inflicted wound. His wife, Anna, and their 2 children were found unharmed but deeply shaken. Anna told Sheriff Donnelly that Patrick had been increasingly disturbed in the weeks before his death. He complained of waking up at night to see a figure standing by the window, always watching him. According to Anna, he said it wanted him to follow. He said the tree called to him. Neighbors dismissed this as delusion brought on by exhaustion. But a detail in the sheriff's report stands out. The window where Patrick claimed to see the figure faced directly toward the field and the oak. Patrick was buried in the local church cemetery. His death was ruled suicide, but whispers spread that the tree had taken another life. Part 5. The Boy Who Returned, 1846. A case with evidence. Perhaps the most unsettling incident tied to the Devil's Tree occurred in August 1846, when a 9-year-old boy named Henry Dobbs went missing for nearly 8 hours. The Dobbs family lived near the border of Bernards Township and Bedminster. Henry often played in the fields behind the house, sometimes wandering farther than he should. On August 14th, he failed to return by supper. His mother alerted neighbors, and a search began. A group of men found him at sunrise the next day, standing alone near the oak. He was unharmed, but he appeared confused and unable to describe where he had been. Sheriff Donnelly questioned him personally. A single line from the interview stands out. Donnelly: "Did you meet anyone in the field?" Henry: "Just the tall man." Donnelly: "Where did he take you?" Henry: "He didn't take me. He walked into the tree. I tried to follow, but the hole closed." The sheriff asked Henry to show him the hole. Henry pointed to the trunk, which, of course, had no openings. Physicians later concluded the boy had likely fallen, hit his head, and become disoriented. But his mother insisted that Henry knew the field well and that he would never have stayed out overnight voluntarily. This incident was the first to suggest a direct connection between the dark figure and the disappearances. Part 6. The Black-Coated Stranger, 1848-1849. The most documented sightings between June 1848 and March 1849, sightings near the oak intensified. A total of 11 written accounts from farmers, travelers, and even 2 constables described the same individual, a tall man wearing a long black coat, broad shoulders, and an unmoving posture. One of the most credible witnesses was Constable Robert Alton, who reported the sighting in an official letter dated September 1848. "I observed a man beneath the oak at dusk. I approached with my lantern raised and called out. The man did not respond. When I came within 10 paces, I looked down for only a moment, and upon lifting my eyes, the figure was entirely gone." Another notable account came from James Brodie, a wagon driver who saw the figure twice, once in November 1848 and again in February 1849. Brody wrote, "It is the same man each time. Tall, thin, black coat. His face I cannot recall, though I was certain I saw it. When I try to remember, I see only darkness." The consistency of the descriptions, despite witnesses not knowing each other, is unusual. Even the sheriff admitted privately that the reports were too similar to ignore. But no physical evidence was ever found, and no individual matching the description was ever identified. Part 7. The Final Disappearance, 1849. Documented in 2 newspapers. On October 2, 1849, a farm worker named Jonathan Hale vanished while transporting supplies from Martinsville to a property near the base of the Watchung Mountains. Hale's route passed directly by the lonely field. His horse was found grazing calmly near the oak. The wagon was upright, untouched. Hale's tools were still in place, but Hale was gone. The Somerset Whig published a short article. "The disappearance of Mr. Hale is of grave concern. His wagon was located, but no trace of the man could be found. Footprints lead toward the large oak in the southern clearing, but do not continue beyond it." Sheriff Donnelly, now nearing retirement, wrote in his final report, "I have seen many things in my 30 years of service, but I cannot explain why the tracks end as they do. The ground is undisturbed. There is simply no more of the man." Hale was never located. He became the 5th confirmed disappearance near the oak. After this, locals began avoiding the field entirely. Some families even moved away. By 1850, the name Devil's Tree was spoken openly. Part 8. What the records suggest. 5 documented disappearances, 11 sightings of a dark figure, 2 tragedies in nearby homes, multiple sheriff's reports, newspaper articles, diaries, letters. None of them prove anything supernatural. But when combined, the history paints a troubling picture. Something, or someone, was present around that tree. A presence consistent across witnesses, across years, across circumstances. A tall figure, silent, unmoving, often appearing when someone was about to vanish, and always near the oak. By 1850, the Devil's Tree had become a permanent part of New Jersey folklore, not because of rumors, but because of events that were recorded, investigated, and never explained. Part 9. The Tree. Today, though this story focuses on the 1840s, the oak still stands in Bernards Township in the present day. It is widely considered one of New Jersey's most infamous landmarks. Visitors report strange sensations, unexplained sounds, and an unusual warmth in the tree's bark. No official explanation has ever been given. Some believe the tree witnessed violence and carries its memory. Some believe it served as a meeting place for criminals. Others say the sightings were misinterpretations of shadows and distance. But the records remain. 5 disappearances, 1 death, multiple sightings of the same figure, and all of it centered around one lone tree in a quiet New Jersey field.